Alright YouTubers, I'm back for another how-to video. So, if you've been keeping track with the signal system so far and watching it in the correct order, I didn't post a couple of them in the correct order, but I've explained why in previous videos. So if you've been following and followed in the correct order, by now we've gotten our signal components, our SE8C for controlling the tortoises, and the signals along with two BD4s for the 8 blocks of my layout. Actually 6 of them are mainline, the other 3 are just the yard and stuff like that I split into different sections just for short circuit finding and general troubleshooting purposes. But anyways, so if you follow, we've got that. We've got our components installed in layout. We've tested the SE8C before we install it under the layout. I tested our layout because I had already installed it while I was trying to figure out what was wrong. But actually, it's probably better to test it before you put it under the layout. Although it can be done, it's just better to do it before you put it under the layout. So, we've gotten through the basic part, and in my case, I went ahead and put the BD4s in just so I could run trains, because basically the track circuit goes through them. So we've gotten our components installed, and we've done a basic wiring overview, part 3 of the signal series, I believe it was. And that was pretty much just how I was prepping for connections to the BD4 and just general. For this one, in connecting the BD4, we're going to start to get more into how to set up connections using the 10 ribbon cables that connect the BD4 to SE8C, as well as actual signals to the SE8C. But this will take a couple parts, so that's a little further. Again, 2 things I want to point out real quick. Number 1, as you'll see in a minute, because I'll explain this in more thorough detail, but first thing I want to point out is I'm keeping the same colors consistent throughout my entire layout wiring. So no matter what I'm doing, black is always my plus or common. Red is always my control, like gap rail for the signals, or minus in general. So I just do that for everything. The track power, the LocoNet, track power, the ribbon cables, just all of my circuits. Now, including what will eventually be my DC controllable section on the back half the layout here. And I got stuff coming for that, so it'll be coming soon. But anyway, that's off topic, and it's supposed to be about signals, and I'm already starting to ramble, so let's get to connecting our BD4s to our SE8C. So, I've got 3 of the 4 components I'll need already laid out. First one is just regular wire strippers / cutters. This one goes all the way to 24, up to 10 for the biggest. And we got other holes you can see there. Cut it. We got a cutting blade right there. And then just other stuff there. I don't know what those are for because I've never had to use them, but anyways, that's one component. Then next up we have our cable, and I don't know, I don't know if you can see this there, but oh come on, there we go. We got 10, focus, we got 10 holes in there. Those will plug into the 10 pin sockets on our BD4s, and then well, onto the BD4s, and then also connects to that. And this end will go into terminal blocks, which I'll get to in a little bit. So that's 3 components. Now when you connect these, you want to do them gently, but be sure not to crush the actual connector, because you can see, well, I don't know if you can. Oh, come on, focus, you. It's kind of hard to see, but there's little teeth with V-shaped grooves that cut through the insulation and complete the circuit, so current can get to and from the wires. And you're going to press that down. Well, you don't want to use something like a regular pair of a wrench or regular pair of pliers, just because you don't want to crush that. So what I do with it is I press it down as far as I can with my fingers so it's snug against it, and then the rest of the way I get a couple pieces of styrene and use my 3-pound vice clamp on my bench for the rest of the process. So I don't know if I'll show that, but I got 3 components here. I already did the cable for one BD4 and installed it and everything. That was just to familiarize myself with it. And I also did a Google search for connecting BD4 to SE8C. So that's where I, that's where I found out which wires go to what and which wire out of the 10-wire cable to use for what purposes. And I'll repeat what it said on there in a minute, but if you want to look it up, then that's what you just Google, connecting BD4 to SE8C. So, but anyways, the other one's already in the layout, and like I said, I did that just to familiarize myself. I got the concept, but I've never done this before, so I did it. So I know what I'm doing, so I don't get you guys confused while I'm trying to explain it. But with all that, and probably more rambling than was needed out of the way, let's zoom in a little bit on our cable, and I'll start explaining a couple more things. Okay, that ain't gonna... I have no idea. There we go. Okay, the brown wire, which is the one on the bottom, is pin 1. The black is pin 10. Pins 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10 are basically your common. And I chose black for this because, like I said earlier, I keep black as positive throughout any wiring on my layout. Just keeps everything straighter. It makes troubleshooting a lot easier. So their wires that are bent back are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9. So I just don't need those, so I've left them there. I have not clipped them off or anything because I might need them in the future. I don't know. So they're there if I need them. But wires 1, 3, 5, and 7, basically the outputs for our block. And eventually all of these wires will go, oh come on, to the SE8C. And it is very important to note here, they do not go to the drive sockets on the SE8C. That's what I thought. That's what I was going to do. And I'm glad I looked it up, because that's not what you're supposed to do. They're supposed to go to the 44-pin edge connector. And I'll show you that to you eventually, because I got to take it off of the SE8C to solder all the tortoise control wires to it. So you'll see that eventually. But that comes with the SE8C, and usually you solder all the wires on that before you put it under, but that's what you want to do the optimal way. But again, these go to the 44-pin edge connector, not the drive sockets on the SE8C. Now, at some point I'll take you down and just show you general layout of all my wiring, how I set up power districts and everything. But one thing I'm doing is, this does not go all the way to SE8C. Right now this will go to a terminal block, goes to set of terminal blocks, and then from there I'm using 22 gauge wire to run to my SE8C. And the purpose for that is so if I ever need to, like if heaven forbid I destroy an SE8C, which I don't want to do because it's $125 to replace the sucker, but it's well worth every penny. I just don't want to fry it. Or if I need to, just take either that or the BD4 out for replacement or maintenance or whatever, I can just unscrew wires from the terminal block and I can take out, the component, not have to unsolder wires from the 44-pin edge connector, or, makes it a lot simpler, a lot cleaner, and a lot easier, a lot less time consuming. So, with most of that out of the way, let's come back for part B, or whatever I title it, and let's take a look at the finished cable under the layout, as well as the connection point for this new one. Oh, and you'll see the finished connector. So one note about that before we go to part 2. Pin 1, brown is pin 1, and okay, I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of hard to, but on one side there's an arrow right above where pin 1 should go, so that'll help you orientate it. And then I'll point out pin 1 on the BD4 when we get down there and show you where to hook that up. So let me stop the recording for part A of this step in the signal series. I'll go put this thing on and then go into part B, and I'll show you this on it, where I'm going to plug it in, how I'll plug it in, as well as the cable I've already done, so you have a view of the overall, what it looks like when it's already in. So stay tuned.